Good morning and welcome to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with producer Josh Brown. Our special guest today is Western New Mexico head football coach Frank Tristan. Coach, so good to have you with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Oh, yeah. Coach, I counted, and I don't know if I'm right or not, but I believe it's been 480 days between football games for Western New Mexico. The last one they had was November 16th. Against Tarleton State, and I remember that game very well. Tarleton State went on to go to Division I, I believe. And I remember we had a nice drive to start the game. We had a real nice clock churning drive to start the game. And the first play from scrimmage, they scored on a 75-yard touchdown pass. And that's how offensively proficient they were. And their quarterback, I remember after the game, he looked like Baker Mayfield. And he played it up to the hill too, man. It was a cocky guy for sure, but Tarleton State was a good team. But, Coach, it's been 480 days. This Saturday, Western will take on UT Permian, who's won their first two spring games and are averaging 43.3 points a game. We'll get into your defensive adjustments, what you plan to do. But, Coach, I just got to ask you, how does it feel to be getting back on the field and banging some heads this Saturday? How's that going to feel?
I'd say our guys are so excited to play a game, and we're so happy for them just to be able to play a game again. And you're right, it has been a long time. It's almost, you get anxious as coaches because we've been training them for the last year and a half, and you're hoping you're doing a good job. So this will be our opportunity to see, if we've done a good job of preparing them and if they've done a good job in preparing themselves.
Coach, talk about every coach. I did a high school game here in Albuquerque last Saturday, Hope Academy, and that was the first time we'd been on the field in a long time. Things have changed in the state of New Mexico as far as rules, as far as pods, and now all of a sudden they keep changing 24 hours. First no fans, now it's county by county. You're hoping to have 25% out there at Ben Altamirano Field on Saturday. Maybe by kickoff it's 50%. We don't know. It's how fast things are changing. But Coach, talk a little bit about the challenges, and it's been a challenge for every coach in working in pods of 5. Now I think they relax those pods now. But talk about how it is to get football players ready in pods of 5. It's not easy for any coach in any sport. Talk about that a little bit.
You're right, Ed. It's not easy. But one of the things is, and we tell our guys this, we can't, even back in the fall we were doing this, we had pods of 5. And so we really felt like as coaches, it was going to be an opportunity to accelerate the team chemistry because you can get to know your guys. And so that's what we did. We really, we put coaches with certain guys, and the goal was just to have an individual plan for those specific players to get better and really tailor it to their specific needs. And man, I do think it accelerated our chemistry. This is by far the closest team that I've ever had. I mean, they care about each other, they love each other, and there's a genuine concern for our team. So that has been a good thing for us. I think then the difficult thing is then how do you prepare when you play 11 on 11, not 5 against nobody. So that has been a challenge. So we really just worked on specific drills and stuff like that. And then we did the pods, and then as soon as it was open, and we got to 11 on 11 and we're able to do that. And our guys have really just stayed the course very well. But it is challenging. It has been a challenge, and we'll see. We really don't know what it's going to be like until we play against an opponent.
Right.
The one thing that's kind of, you're nervous about is that they got to play 2 games already, and we haven't played 2 games. So it's definitely a challenge, but we're up for it, and the guys are excited, but coaches, because we had to be better planned and prepared, and then they stayed within the guidelines, and they really rallied around each other. And so, I think it's been a great thing.
Coach, you mentioned a lot of things, and you've had a lot of turnover from last year, and you go into the run and shoot offense. We talked about that the other day. It's an offense where receivers make adjustments due to the defensive coverage. We talked about that, an offense used in the pros by the Detroit Lions San Diego Chargers. I think the last time it was used in the pros was 97, 98 by the San Diego Chargers. And it's, not a lot of colleges are going to RPOs, run pass option, things like that. CJ Fowler's no longer with you. You've got a new quarterback and Michael Bubba Williamson. You're excited about this young man. You've got Josh Powell, the freshman of the year in the Lone Star Conference. He's coming back. Talk a little bit about that offense, because timing, coach, repetitions, right? It may not be what you're going to see in November from the Mustangs in the first game, but talk a little bit about changing offensive philosophy, because that's a huge change, I think. We talked about the run and shoot. You know much more about it than me, but talk a little bit about that.
Just from going back, after the 2019 season, our offensive coordinator was able to get a head coaching job, which is a great compliment to our team and a great compliment to him. And so one of the things when we were looking for an offensive coordinator was we wanted somebody that was good in the pass game, because, in 2019 we were second in the conference in passing, and we were good at it. And I kind of felt like we probably could have been even better at times. We left a lot on the field. So Coach Buddy Blevins has come, and he accepted the job to be an offensive coordinator, and really has just a tremendous amount of detail, not only just in scheme, but the most thing that I've been impressed with him is just developing receivers and quarterbacks. And yeah, it's fun. The guys are excited. They enjoy practice because, we're throwing to these receivers a lot. There is the timing is taken a lot of time. So those pods, when we got to 11-on-11, not knowing if we were going to play, just practicing on the fundamentals and the basics was a good thing. Really in this process, we've really had 3 quarterbacks that have really played well. You mentioned about, and then we had Brandon Ciarno, another transfer that came in at semester, and he's been playing. And then we had a freshman, Callahan Carter, come in, and the 3 of them have really started to compete. And all of them are grasping the offense. And so I'm really proud of them, and the way that our offensive coaching staff has been able to develop them so quickly has been great. And you mentioned Josh Powell, and this offense fits him. And we found some other guys that have come in that have just, he can become a leader for us in that group. And some younger guys and even some older guys have kind of rallied around him, and they're pushing each other, and they're early at practice, then they stay late after practice, catching footballs, working on the timing. Matter of fact, when I left the field this morning, our receivers were out there just going over routes and their adjustments. And so, what's funny is when we make it important, then the players make it important. And so they've really almost become contagious with it. And it's fun. I'm excited to see them play. And, I think they all want to get their first catch and then, kind of be able to play in some comfortability, because I'm sure they're nervous now.
It's a good nervousness, though, because, I told you, we talked each Sunday evening, and when I was out there at the academy on Saturday, it had been a long time, and it wasn't an artistic, pretty football game, Coach. Missed assignments, a lot of different things, right? But the excitement, and I'll tell you, man, they laid some pads on some people. They did. Nobody got hurt, right? But I was just, again, when you hadn't been out there for as long as they haven't been out there, and as long as Western has not been on the field, 480 days, that first snap from scrimmage, what's that going to mean? I mean, there's going to be a lot of adrenaline, a lot of pent-up emotion, right? And the other thing, Coach, I call it yo-yo emotion, right? We're on, we're off, we're on, we're off, we're off. We're human. We deal with things as athletes. We deal with things as students. Back in the day, I was able to play basketball, and we didn't go through that. It was just, we played, right? Nobody said you can't, and it's a pandemic. I get it. We're not trying to downplay it. But this is just excitement that you can't contain and corral, man. And I'm looking forward to it, too, because I'm sure, like you mentioned, they're looking forward to some live action.
For sure. And one of the things I'll be interested to see if this helps us, because you mentioned the yo-yo emotion, if it helps us balancing out our emotions, or if it does create an up and down. We do some mental coaching as well, just talking about that type of stuff. I'm a positive guy, so I hope and I'm anticipating that that our emotions stay in check, and that being in this pandemic has been a positive for us, and we can just roll with the punches and still maintain a competitive attitude. I do think that for us as a team, specifically against UTVB, with them playing 2 games, it's going to be really important for us, I guess I should say, to get into that flow of the game and to get that initial excitement out and just to settle in. And once we do that, if we can do that quickly and get settled in and get to that second win, I'll be excited for our guys, because then they could just play football.
That's the thing about it, as you mentioned, it's been so long, and things that we took for granted all of a sudden weren't guaranteed, right? Sports wasn't guaranteed. Anything in the pandemic was put off. Now all of a sudden, New Mexico, and it surprised me because when I did the game last Saturday, they were saying no fans, right? No fans. All of a sudden Saturday, there's 200 people there. They opened up, things are opening up more and more. And so, like I said, maybe by Saturday, you said 25%, and we'll talk about your new field here in the next segment. We've also got some highlights from our producer, Josh Brown, from last fall. We got your top 10 plays from last fall. We covered all your home games last year. And I'll tell you, we'll talk about too, Coach. I thought sometimes penalties cost us at untimely times, and maybe we'll talk about how you're planning to clean some of that up. We'll take a short break and be back with Western New Mexico head football coach Frank Tristan after these messages on the sports desk.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism, and then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball line. Medina wants another one from deep. Gone. He wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk, live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with producer Josh Brown today, in for all the Neowani. We got our special guest is Western New Mexico head football coach Frank Tristan. And Coach, we've got some highlights from last October's Fitz game against UT Permian, and our producer Josh Brown is going to put them up for us.
So wait, block punt. Let's see if the Mustangs.
I believe that's the scoop and score by Fianga. Go ahead, comment, Coach. Go ahead. You can remember.
Yeah, that was our punt block, and that was a senior Sarkis that did just a great job in that. It's amazing. And then we're going to have a hard time replacing Roosevelt Calhoun, but you saw that highlight
Hit by Calhoun. Ball is fumbled.
There. He led us a great player. That'll be a challenge to replace him. Oh, yeah, and then another senior, Isaiah Edwards. That was always emotional when you lose those seniors because they worked so hard for you. And and we had, Reggie Colson was another great player for us, and actually All-American going into this preseason 2020. And so he's a good one. He's so talented.
Those are the top 4 plays that we had from October 5th, a win against UT Permian. And Coach, you mentioned Reggie Colson. He's probably got a pro shot, I would think, somewhere down the line. I mean, he's tall, rangy, runs good routes, got great hands. I would think he's got a pro shot somewhere down the line.
I think so. If he puts the work in, he really does have an opportunity to be really special. He's just got some gifts, and he just goes out after the ball so well. And yeah, God gave him a different set of ability that not everybody has.
Yeah, he attacks the ball in the air, and he's so smooth the way he runs his routes. Just a real smooth player. We're looking forward to seeing him maybe back in the fall, but not with you on this spring's roster. Now, Coach, one of the things we talked about, and I've talked to every coach about this, whether it be high school or college, talk about the challenges of online learning. You said some of the players have struggled academically, and that's been kind of the story throughout the state. There's even top flight students have kind of struggled. I was always the kind of guy, I like going to class, man. I really did. I like being, but again, we didn't have the things that we, back then, we didn't have the online learning. You had to be there, take notes, be present, raise your hand, participate for a grade. You really did. So talk about a little bit about the online challenges that your Mustangs have faced throughout this pandemic.
That is it's been a tremendous challenge, and even had some guys that really struggled because all of a sudden you lose all structure. And I'm convinced that there's 2 things that we need as humans, is that we need structure and we need people. I don't think we're meant to do life alone. And so it was a major challenge. And so one of the things that we did, I have yet to start to develop a Zoom meeting on my own. I just stink at it. But what I did do is I made a lot of videos for the guys. And just trying every week, we tried to do some type of video or interaction with them, phone calls, something, so that they didn't feel like they were doing life alone. And that's the sad thing that we lost in this, is just some of that man, your friendships that were almost forfeited. And so that was something that we really had to do. And then also we had to check our guys' grades. And now what we do is check them electronically just to offer that accountability. And it's been a challenge. I've probably set more schedules with players where, just that, hey, where are you doing this class? Where's your location that you're going to do your Zoom call? Just don't lay in your bed. All those little things that you now have to coach and teach in order for the guys to be successful. I would say this, it's taken us about a year, but right now we are probably academically as strong as we've ever been as our grade checks. But it's taken us a year to figure out how to do it in an online world. But the biggest thing for us, more than just the academics, was the mental health of our players. Because like I said before, doing life alone, all of a sudden you're with these guys all the time. And now we're telling you, hey, you've got to stay in your dorm room because somebody else tested positive. We got to protect you. And that's just, it was what it was, but it was still like being treated like you were in prison. And so how do we were going there every night to a kid. If a kid had a positive test, we were going there giving them, Gatorades or Sonic ice cream, or my daughter thought everybody would love a honey bun. So we were giving out honey buns because we didn't want kids to feel like they were alone in this. And so that's why I say back at the beginning is I think it accelerated our team chemistry, and they knew that man, coach loves me, my players love me, my other coaches love me. We had wives, making desserts for the guys. It was just, so you had to be creative. It was something that you had to think outside the box. But it has definitely been a challenge, and hopefully academically and team chemistry wise, we're still improving and growing.
I would think that through things like that, it's hard because you mentioned that you need people. I used to look forward to seeing all my teammates, all the coaches, right? I mean, it's part of what we do. It's it's a culture in sports and cheerleading too, right? I mean, they've got their own culture. Everything that makes up a game, not just the players, there's the officials, so many people, the sideline people, the concession people, right? They probably miss it too. But, you know, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that about the online learning. You've got, it's a freshman laden squad. I believe you've got a lot of new freshmen coming in, not a lot of new players. You lost quite a bit from last year as far as players, and it's going to be kind of a freshman oriented squad. And one of the things that Dakota Spillers, he gave me some good stats. You had CJ Fowler, he threw all 19 of your passing touchdowns last year. You mentioned how proficient, and I told you this last year, your receiving core is one of the best in the conference, right? Now, Reggie's not going to be with you in the spring, but he'll be back. Josh Powell's back. Talk a little bit about the Mustangs that, you know, in the spring, what can we look for? And, you know, and it's a preview for the fall, right? You're getting 2 games in. Maybe they let you start working out this summer a little bit earlier since you lost so much, but it's kind of a preview of the fall. So give us your synopsis of the 2021 spring football, what we're going to see.
I think you'll see a little bit more efficiency, more than maybe we might not have the huge plays that we had in 2019. You know, I think the biggest thing for us was losing the, you know, defensive line. We had, you know, James Lee and Joe Tito that, you know, they're continuing to play after college, and that's something that we're trying to replace. You know, but I think overall we increased our team speed. So I think if I'm a spectator from 2019 to 2021, what am I going to see different is I think our overall team speed that we'll see on special teams, and even not only on our starters, but also our deep, is just going to be faster. We're just going to cover more of the field. We're going to be able to get our spots quicker. Even from the offensive line to the defensive line, we're just faster. And that's one of the things that we really harped on as coaches. When I was at our previous institution, we really wanted to recruit speed, and that's the goal, because speed wins. So I hope that we haven't missed our mark. You know, that's always the anxiety there, but you know, our guys are running to the football defensively. We're fast across the board. All 11 guys are fast for their position. And then offensively, I feel like we've got some good team speed. I also think we're going to be a little bit efficient, where you're not going to see the negative plays that maybe we did, and kind of maybe the feast and famine approach that we had in some of our games, where we can sustain a drive and we're going to end drives on kicks more than, you know, a turnover on downs or a turnover or something of that nature.
You also lost senior running back DeAndre Williams. How's his health, by the way? He got banged up in the bowl against New Mexico Highlands. How's he doing?
Man, Dre is awesome. He is, you know, he's in his last year of nursing school here at Western. And he's actually at our facility all the time. In the mornings, he'll come to practice and talk with the guys. So it's cool. Dre looks like he can still play. I'd love for him to throw on that 21 jersey again. Matter of fact, I think now he's back 100%. He had to have knee surgery, you know, and he played with a broken hand. The guy is just tough as nails. And so proud of him. I got definitely emotional with him, because just to see what he's overcome, and he still comes to our weight room every once in a while, and just watching him not only be an excellent football player, competitor, but just being a great student and a great human. And he's great to see him around our guys. And that's the cool thing, like getting some of these old guys. Another one, senior, is Chris Ulafale, that he's doing his student teaching in Silver City right now. And those guys coming around the facility when we're practicing, and you know, you kind of create a little bit of a family, you know, where even guys that have graduated are still, and they want to see what their teammates are doing. They want to be a part of the Saturday game. And so that's fun to be around, and it's fun that I get the opportunity to coach this group.
You mentioned that. Now, DeAndre Williams, again, we had a chance to interview him last year on Mustang Minutes, and he'll be joining me 12 o'clock at Ben Altamirano Fields. We can't wait for our first version of Mustang Minutes this year. But I thought the world of him, just a really intelligent young man and nice young guy. You know, he really thought a lot of him. But what can we expect to see from the running back position with him gone? Well, you know, he was a senior. He played 3 years in the program. And what can we expect?
Yeah, you know, that Bryce Coleman has transferred here, and Bryce is an excellent running back. And so he's here, and we also have DRJ Blanks and James Hoban. So there's three guys that really run the ball hard. They're good in pass protection. But I laugh at Dre because, he's been a running back for 4 years here, and now he recruits another running back for us. So he's a good man that cares about our program. And I'll be interested. I think all three of those guys have elite speed. Once again, our goal is to recruit speed, and they're all three of them are really strong, different types of strengths for running. DR is a little bit more shifty and elusive. James is just straight line speed, phenomenal. And then Rice is more of a, stocky, make you miss, hard to bring down type guy. And so I think all three of them, it's funny, running backs, Coach Davis does a really good job of getting those guys just to care about each other, and they don't care who gets all the yards. They just want to run the ball and get yards as a group. So I'm excited to see our running game. It'll be fun.
Tell us about the Mustangs defensively. You mentioned James Lee, Joe Tito, Roosevelt Calhoun. You lost some good players. Roosevelt Calhoun, man, I'll tell you, there were several hits last year. He really, he jarred the ball loose. He good technique tackler, a good player. So you lost a little bit about defense. Tell us about the Mustangs on defense.
Yeah, we will have, I think overall, like I said, we're going to have more speed. Our defensive backs are all coming back, and we've got some leadership there, some speed. We've had a couple transfers come in. I also think, CJ Iserman, Arujo, and Dante Faianga are gonna of Roosevelt. They're third-year players, and really in that position, we kind of had a nice little group that was, developing, and so now it's their time to shine. That's what you want. You don't want to be playing freshmen all the time, and so they're two kids that really fill well as linebackers. I think defensive line wise, we have guys that are big and strong. We don't have the big 6'5" guy in James Lee, but we do have some speed and guys that want it. And a little bit of defensive football is just about effort. And I kind of sometimes I overestimate. I just say that a lot. Tackle the guy with the ball. I mean, let's not make it so complicated. And you just got to give great effort. And so we've got those types of guys.
Lock, tackle, do the basic. What did Vince Lombardi say, gentlemen? This is a football. I don't know if you ever saw that. I sort of remember that back in the day.
Yeah,
Coach,
right.
Coach, one last question. UT Permian, and we got to wrap it up here, is averaging 43 points in their two games. 43.3 points. They've scored 87 points in two games. How are you going to slow them down on Saturday?
That's a good question. My hope is that we play really sound defense and we just get after it. And last time we played, we weren't very good on third down. So defensively, we really got to get off the field. And I think we will do that. Offensively, we can't give them good field position. Coach Kerrigan does a good job, and they've got explosive players. They've got two receivers that are just elite speed type receivers. So we can't just give them the ball. They've got to earn it, and they've got to earn the field position. So that's the one thing we want to take care of the ball, like I said earlier, and every possession with a kick.
Western New Mexico head coach Frank Tristan played.
Whether it's a punt or field.
Coach, I didn't mean to interrupt you up. You've got UT Permian, 2 o'clock, Van Altamirano Field on Saturday in Silver City. We'll see you down there for Mustang Minutes at 12 noon. Thanks so much for being our guest today on the Sports Desk.
Oh, thank you, Ed. It was fun. Thanks for talking.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. For producer Josh Brown, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next Tuesday on the Sports Desk.